I'm going to share with you my 5 tips of how you can start to solve knee pain. I've created this video because many people have asked me for advice about knee problems and how to deal with knee problems. What exercises should they do? Are there any tips or advice that I could give them as a physiotherapist to help them with their knee problem? So I've created my 5 top tips to help you, or if you know somebody who needs help with a knee problem. I've created my 5 top tips as a physiotherapist of how to help solve knee problems. You needn't be a sports person or a marathon runner or a 5K fun runner to be watching this video. You might be somebody who's just been having a niggle with their knee, somebody who's been having trouble with their knee for quite some time and the knee's been bothering them, or you may be indeed training for your first marathon, your first couch to 5K running app that you're involved with. So this video, I've created my 5 top tips to help you improve and overcome knee problems. I'm a runner myself. I've done several marathons and I've also done triathlons, so I understand the impact of injury on one's knee problem, and one's capability of training for one's marathon, training for one's triathlon, or just doing the things that one loves to do. So I've created this 5 top tip video for yourselves to look at, to watch, and to share with anybody who you know who might benefit from some advice about knee problem. As a London Marathon injury clinic, it's 5 weeks to go till the London Marathon, and so this is the time as the mileage is ramping up. We see a lot of people having knee problems coming into the clinic. So we want you to share these tips with you. So tip number 1 is understand what's causing your knee problem. Sounds very simple, but spend a bit of time trying to get to grips with where is your knee problem, which structures around your knee is causing the trouble. So here's a knee joint. This is a model of the knee, looking at the front of the right knee. Over here you have the inside of the right knee, the outer side of the right knee, the front and the back of the knee. And you can see the kneecap at the front over here, this triangular bone, which is a sesamoid bone, a floating bone. So step number 1, tip number 1 to how to manage knee problems and get an understanding about your knee problem is identify which area of your knee is causing your problem. Is it coming on the inside of your knee, in which case you might think, is it the medial collateral ligament causing you trouble? Is it pain at the front part of the knee? Pain on the outer side of the knee? Pain at the back of the knee? Or you might find that it's a pain deep within the knee joint itself. Getting to grips and understanding as to which segment of the anatomy of your knee is where your problem is coming from will help to identify and will help to better enable you to get on top of the problem. But it's not just about understanding and identifying the anatomy of it, it's also understanding what are the causative factors. So was it that you had a traumatic injury, you fell, you twisted your knee, you had a skiing injury, where there's been a very clear cause and effect? Or it might be like most of our patients who come into the clinic have not had a particular traumatic injury. So their knee problem has developed over time, it's gradually come about, and they can't pinpoint a particular cause. In which case it's very likely that things like posture, mechanical alignment, footwear, one's training routines, the type of exercise one does may well be a cause. So our tip number 1 of our 5 tips of solving knee problems and getting on top of knee problems is understand what's causing your knee problem. Tip number 2 is foam roller. If you don't have a foam roller already, you've got to go out and get yourself a foam roller. If you are somebody or you know somebody who is struggling with a knee problem, it's an incredibly good value investment. 15 to 20 quid, 30 quid tops for a good foam roller. You can get a small size, this is a 45 to 50 centimeter foam roller, and use it. Using a foam roller for 2 minutes to iron out parts of the leg muscles that are tight, your quads, your hamstrings, the iliotibial band, the vastus lateralis. You can use the foam roller to massage out your calves as well. It's a very versatile piece of kit, and every runner and anybody suffering with a knee problem should certainly be using and spending some time using a foam roller. This is a knobbly foam roller, so this one has knobbly ridges to really get in and iron out those nodules, those tight areas. If you're new to foam roller, do not start with a knobbly foam roller. This can be quite brutal, quite uncomfortable. The foam roller is notorious for not being particularly comfortable to start with, but stick with it and use the foam roller 2 minutes per area daily to really help get things loosened up around your leg muscles, and that will have a substantial impact to your knee. So tip number 2 of my 5 tips to help you get on top of knee problems is get yourself a foam roller and use the foam roller. Tip number 3, and tip number 3 goes back to tip number 1. So if you're just joining into the video now, be sure to watch from the beginning, because tip number 1 is connected with tip number 3, which is video your running or your walking. And better yet, get somebody else to video you walking or video you running. Very simply, with your phone, walk away from them for about 5 to 10 meters as normal walking gait pattern as possible. Turn around and walk back towards them. Try to walk as naturally as possible. Similarly, if you're a runner, you certainly want to have your running style videoed. And with regards to running, probably wanting a longer distance and a longer period videoed. So again, get somebody stationary to stand with your phone, videoing you running away from them and running back towards you. And again, if you are a runner, then have them also run behind you. It can be a bit more tricky videoing well whilst somebody else is running, because the video is obviously very shaky. But once you've had the video, just look back at it and spend a few minutes looking at your walking style, looking at how you land with your feet. Do your feet roll inwards? Do your knees knock inwards? Do your knees and hips rotate? Do you tilt excessively at the pelvic girdle? Do you hold your upper trunk very stiff? Are you a heel striker? Are you a forefoot striker? So videoing will give you very clear, very useful, easy information that you can look back on to try to get to grips with what we said was tip number 1, which is understanding what might be causing your knee problems. And very often mechanics, how your body is structured, how you function, is a cause of knee problems. So tip number 3 is video your running or your walking style and look at it and try to address any issues that might be contributing to your knee problem. If you know of somebody, it might not be yourself, but you might know somebody else who is struggling with a knee problem, please be sure to share this video with them, or you might even tag them by typing a comment, typing a message below. One of the questions we frequently get asked is, well, Steve, I know this is a foam roller, but what should I do with it? How should I use it? What exercises should I be doing with the foam roller? Well, in subsequent videos, we will be doing short clips on different exercises and in more detail about each of these 5 tips that we're covering today. So please be sure to like our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/boostphysio, BOOST, Boost Physio. And then you'll be notified as to when our next videos are, and then you'll be able to see the video clips of how to use the foam roller. And also for our next tip, which is tip number 4, which is of our 5 tips of how to overcome and solve knee problems. So tip number 4 is strengthening your glutes, your VMOs, and your hamstrings. And again, like our page and you'll be notified about when the next videos are that will be explaining in more detail how to strengthen these areas. So strengthening the glutes. The glutes are the muscles around the buttocks, the muscles around the hips that govern how the pelvis is whilst you're walking. So if you imagine that this is the pelvic girdle, and whilst you're walking or running, the gluteal muscles help to govern how much side-to-side tilting and also rotation there is through the pelvic girdle. And the impact of that is that can have tremendous consequence to the alignment of your knees and the alignment of your feet and ankles also. So that can be a big contributing factor that's often overlooked. So often people treating knee problems overlook the fact that there can be a weakness in the gluteal muscles. So as a runner myself and somebody who's done triathlons, I appreciate the importance of spending time investing in one's overall, not just doing the thing that one loves to do, so one enjoys running, so one goes out and runs, but also doing some strength and conditioning work for the sport and activity one likes to do. And so the strengthening component is certainly necessary if you are injured or are having a problem. But even if you're not injured, you just enjoy participating in regular sport, regular running, and regular physical activity, then doing some conditioning work to strengthen the gluteal muscles, strengthen the VMOs and the hamstrings. So your hamstrings, I'm sure you know, those are the muscles at the back of the legs. But what are the VMOs? So the VMOs stand for vastus medialis oblique. Your quadriceps, the main muscle at the front of the knee, is a four-headed muscle, as the name suggests. So quad, four-headed, sep means head, so the four-headed muscle, and the vastus medialis is the part of the quadricep on the inner side at the front of your knee, and VMO, so vastus medialis, and O standing for oblique, which are the oblique fibers, which are the muscle fibers that run obliquely attaching onto the kneecap. Again, this is a particular portion of the muscles around the knee that are often overlooked, so strengthening those up are really key and important to helping with alignment at the kneecap and alignment of the knee joint. So ensuring you do some strengthening work of the VMOs will ensure that the knee alignment is perfect. So often what's very common is for women to have problems with the kneecap. It's much more common for ladies to have problems with the kneecap joint because of the shape of the pelvic girdle and the angle of the knees coming inwards, and that can lead to issues at the kneecap. So strengthening not only the gluteal muscles, the muscles around the hips, but the muscles around the vastus and the inside of the knee, the vastus medialis oblique, is really key to helping ensure good alignment of the knee and keeping the knee in great shape. So tip number 5 of our 5 tips of how to deal with knee problems and how to solve knee problems. Number 5, stretch your quads, your hamstrings, your hips, and your calves. So most runners will stretch their calves regularly, but people who aren't necessarily runners or sports people often overlook the fact that the calf muscle, the muscle at the back of the lower leg, actually attaches above the knee joint. So your gastrocnemius, which is this large muscle in the calf, attaches above the back of your knee and can very much influence the mechanics of your knee. So be sure to stretch your calf muscles along with your quadricep muscles, the muscles at the front of the knee, the hamstrings, which are the big large muscles at the back behind the thigh, and the hips, in particular the hip flexors and gluteal and piriformis muscles. Again, be sure to like our Facebook page so that when we do post our next videos on how to do particular stretches for each of these components or the particular strengthening exercises, you'll be notified. Thanks for watching our video.